In 2006, to improve web search ranking up to 31%, this paper incorporated implicit user feedback. So today I'm reading Improving Web Search Ranking by Incorporating User Behavior Information paper from 2006. It was written by Agichtein, Microsoft, Brill, Microsoft Research, Dumais, Microsoft Research. We show that incorporating user behavior data can significantly improve ordering of top results in the real web search setting. We examine alternatives for incorporating feedback into ranking process and explore contributions of user feedback compared to other common web search features. We report results of large-scale evaluation over 3,000 queries and 12 million user interactions with a popular web search engine. We show that incorporating implicit feedback can augment other features, improving the accuracy of competitive web search ranking algorithms by as much 31% relative to the original performance. Contributions. Analysis of alternatives for incorporating user behavior into web search ranking, section 3. An application of robust implicit feedback model derived from mining millions of user interactions with major web search engine. 3. Large-scale evaluation over real user queries and search results showing significant improvements derived from incorporating user feedback. We built on existing research to develop robust user behavior interpretation techniques for real web search settings. Instead of treating each user as a reliable expert, we aggregate information from multiple unreliable user search session traces, and we describe in next two sections. Simple rank heuristic. So in the paper they used several different ways how to incorporate the implicit feedback from user. One of them was just simple rank merging heuristic, where they combine those two different ranks by in this way. They take some weight, 1 over one of the ranks plus 1 plus 1 over the second run. If the implicit feedback is available, otherwise they take this 1 over O plus 1 from the original, from the only available source. More sophisticated classifier and ranker combinations algorithms may result in additional improvements. More than 50% of queries to web search engines are unique with no previous feedback available. So this sentence was interesting to me. I actually was expecting something like 90% of web search queries not being unique, sort of very much, and then have some sort of long tail later, but actually here they claim in this paper that it's 50% of queries are completely unique. It's quite interesting. This just shows that the natural language can give you lots of flexibility on on which way how you can search things, and that the web is actually quite large and multi-purpose thing. So what kind of features they used? So they used some click-through features, position of the URL in the current ranking, number of clicks for this query, URL pair, probability of clicks for this query and URL, deviation from expected click probability, 1 if clicked on the next position, 0 otherwise, 1 if clicked on the previous position, 0 otherwise, 1 if click is above, 0 otherwise, 1 if click is below, 0 otherwise. They also use some browsing features. So for example, time on page, page dwell time, basically, cumulative time on page, cumulative time for all subsequent pages after search, time on domain, cumulative dwell time for this domain, time on short URL, cumulative time on URL prefix, no parameters, is followed link, 1 if followed link, 0 otherwise, is exact URL match, 0 aggressive normalization use, 1 otherwise, is redirected, is page from search, clicks from search, average dwell time deviation. Dwell time deviation is deviation from average dwell time on page. Cumulative deviation from average cumulative dwell time. Domain deviation from dwell time on the domain, average dwell time. Query text features they used. So there was a title overlap, words shared between the query and the title. Summary overlap, words shared between the query and the snippet of the summary. Query URL overlap, words shared between the query and URL. Query domain overlap, words shared between the query and URL domain. Query length, number of tokens in query. Query next overlap, fraction of words shared with the next query. data set was a random sample of 3,000 queries from search engine query logs. So, conclusion. In this paper, we explored the utility of incorporating user implicit feedback obtained in real-world web search setting to improve web search ranking. We performed large-scale evaluation of 3,000 queries and more than 12 million user interactions with major search engines, establishing the utility of incorporating noisy implicit feedback to improve web search relevance. We compared two alternatives of incorporating implicit feedback into search process, namely re-ranking with implicit feedback and incorporating implicit feedback features directly into the trained ranking function. Yeah, so what I haven't mentioned is that they also tried out this RankNet. It was this, I think it's 3-layer network that they trained, and that's what they say here, right? That they tried re-ranking implicit feedback and incorporating implicit feedback features directly into the trained ranking function, right? So they use this neural net there. Our experiments showed that the significant improvement over methods that do not consider implicit feedback. The gains are particularly dramatic for the top K1 result in the final ranking, with precision improvement as high as 31%, and the gains are substantial for all values of K. Our experiments showed that the implicit user feedback can further improve web search performance when incorporated directly with popular content and link-based features. Interestingly, implicit feedback is particularly valuable for queries with poor original ranking result, that is, map lower than 0.1. One promising direction for future work is to apply recent research on automatically predicting query difficulty and only attempt to incorporate implicit feedback for the difficult queries. And another research direction, we are exploring methods for extending our prediction to the previously unseen queries. That is query clustering, which should further improve the web search experience of our users. So once more, courtesy of Microsoft Research, this was the Improving Web Search Ranking by Incorporating User Behavior Information 2006. And thank you very much for listening. Please unsubscribe and dislike. And yeah, you made it to the end. Thank you very much and see you.